This is the 222nd episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the second week of August 2015. This episode is titled 2 in a Row. CloudFocus Weekly will be live at Dreamforce 15 in the admin zone. We have dates and times. Tuesday, September 15th at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Wednesday, September 16th at 9:30 a.m. Oy, that's early. At Pacific Time. Thursday, September 17th at 1:30 p.m. Still Pacific Time. Come by, hang out, listen to us, and get some CloudFocus Weekly swag. I'm your host, Jason Atwood, and join me, co-host with the mostest, Justin Edelstein. How are you doing, Justin?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, sir.
You're getting very professional on me.
Yes, sir. I am, sir.
Okay, sir. All right, well, we have a lot to talk about today. So we did our very special episode last week about emails. So now we're back to sort of covering the stuff that we normally talk about, which is news and notes and things around Salesforce. And so we have not one, not two, but 3 blog posts to go over, which we're going to go over in reverse order. And then we have 2 pieces of news we'll talk about, and then we will pick our CloudFocus app picks of the week. I promise not to laugh at your pick this week because that seriously pissed you off. So let's start with...
It really did.
The new
It made me never want to pick anything ever again.
Well, that might help out a lot of people if you didn't pick terrible
I'm sure it
picks.
would. Just streamline the whole podcast.
2 weeks ago,
whole experience.
3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks. 2 weeks
How many
ago.
weeks? Do some math.
I can't tell because there's no nothing on there that tells you when it was posted. Unless I'm
Fix
logged
the
in.
website.
I could log in.
Fix the website.
Peter White posted the new and improved Trailhead.
Yes. Follow Peter at SFDC Clicks.
Yes, we've got a SFDC Clicks Twitter account.
That's what I just said.
I know. Some people are getting their funky with the SFDC. I stuck to me. JQuick29. Just kidding. Trailhead, for those of you who don't know, Salesforce has put a lot of effort into building a learning management system, an LMS, which is Trailhead. They've taken a lot of content and they've built it into this really what is becoming, I would say, an amazing system of learning Salesforce stuff. And it's everything from, little basic stuff like Chatter all the way to big things like Apex, but all done in this gamification type of learning. So it's not just read, it's read, do, and then they've built in a technology that'll go into the place you're supposed to do it.
It's really good.
And check that you did it. Like if you're supposed to add a group or do something, they can say, check it, and it'll go in. Then they have badges and things like that. So, Salesforce Trailhead, first of all, you should go to blog.arkusinc.com and read up about it. But Salesforce Trailhead is really cool. I have tried a few of them. I wish I had more time to actually go through a ton of them. It's kind of been my goal to go back and start from the beginning.
That's what I did. I didn't start at I started at the second admin level.
Okay.
Not the beginner one, because I was like, I don't really want to do this, but the content's really good. It's really well laid out. I really love the way it connects to an org and tests whether you did the thing that it asks you to do correctly. I think
very cool.
This is a great way to learn Salesforce if you were starting from nowhere. This is a great way. And then there's even more advanced topics. And as new features roll out, and even as new things roll out.
He's so trying not to say something. It's awesome. I'm watching his brain just start to smoke right now. It's funny.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Here's
what I'm going to say. I would not be surprised if one day Web Assessor got replaced by Trailhead badges.
Ooh, really?
It would not surprise me.
That'd be interesting. Well, then I'd have to start over there all over again. Web Assessor was down the other day, actually.
It just wouldn't surprise me if the whole notion of go take this multiple choice exam got replaced by go spin up an org, here's a bunch of tasks, do them, click a button, see if you did them.
Problem is you can't really guarantee who did it at that point. With the multiple choice exam, you have to show.
You can, because you can take WebAssessor tests from your own home.
Oh. Or if you had to go to a WebAssessor training environment and do the Trailhead at the environment.
Yeah, I can see it sort of replacing it and being like, all right, you get the 201 badge, that kind of thing. I could see it happening down the road, down the trail, but maybe not so soon. We'll see. Okay. That's a total speculation guess.
Yeah, Trailhead, very cool.
It is cool, though.
Enough said. Next up on the blogathon.
Ooh, this is mine.
It's by a young author called...
A young man?
Called Justin Edelstein.
That's me.
And I was going to try to mispronounce it.
Edelstein.
Edelstein.
I was on the phone with someone the other day, and
Yes.
they said, how do I pronounce your name? I said, it's Justin. She said, Justin. I said, Edelstein. She goes, Edelstein. I said, you just asked me. It's Edelstein. She goes, okay, Mr. Edelstein. Twice, back to back.
Really?
I was like, how do you do that?
I don't know. How do you do that?
It's like misspelling someone's name in an email.
When you have the email right there?
You're just replying to them.
Right.
How do you misspell it?
Oh, I've done it.
I get, hey, Jason, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not
true.
Jason.
That's true. You have my email. You know what? You need a signature.
My name is right in front of you.
You should have put it in your signature.
It's right in front of you.
It's right in front of you.
Oh, my God.
Next
terrible.
up, on blog.arkusinc.com, Salesforce permission sets all grown up. Oh, by the way, we forgot to announce the major news.
What's the major news?
I hope that really sounded good.
That did sound good.
We have rebranded the blog that Arkus produces.
We did.
After months of speculation and after many consultants,
many a chatter
polls, everything, we went with
very creatively
Arkus blog.
The Arkus blog. Nothing else fit. It just wasn't working for me.
We tried
as
so
the
many
blog
other
master. Nothing else was working. Anyway,
Arkus blog. So on Arkus
Salesforce
blog,
permission sets all grown up.
Yep.
So I feel like I need to edit this post. I wrote something about here, all about how permission sets, the origin story, how they came about, whatever.
This sounds like a cake blog post for you, by the way.
Pretty cake for me. So, grown up over the last 3 years, everyone who knows me knows I love me some permission sets. I've presented on permission sets at Dreamforce. I've created App Exchange apps around permission sets. With that said, there was something I didn't even realize about permission sets.
Ooh.
That kind of struck me by surprise a little bit. So I was doing
struck me by surprise. Is that like, did you blow the roof off the car doors? What?
I was a little upset by it. Let's put it that way.
So it's a limitation, is what you're telling me.
It was disappointing.
What is it? See if I know it.
I'm gonna try and phrase this question in a way that
it's not obvious.
Yeah, but there's no way to really do it. So I was doing a deployment the other night, and the way that we did our permission scheme was to add none of what we were deploying to any profiles and just do 3 permission sets for 3 different types of users that would have to use this functionality.
Yeah, this is what I was gonna guess, just off the top of my head. But okay, go ahead.
Well, you can deploy a permission set.
Okay.
No big deal.
Good.
And the permission set shows up in the other org.
Awesome.
But it does not include anything in the permission set that you may have set. Like, for example, custom object X, read edit.
Right.
If you don't include custom object X in the permission set, and all the fields that you may have all the permissions within the permission set on, and any Visualforce page or anything like that, in the permission set that you are deploying, or in the change set that you are deploying,
in the change set
with the permission set in it, it won't include any of that in the permission set itself, even if it already exists on the target org.
Can I maybe restate it, because you really fungled? You fungled there.
Really fungle.
You fungled it.
I fungled.
It's when you bungle something really badly.
You fungle.
You fungle it.
Mafungle.
That's mafungal and mafugu. What's the stuff in
Mafungo?
Mafungo.
Love that stuff. Oh my god, I need that right now.
So I think what you're saying is, when you're deploying a permission set from a development environment to production, you need, if you have included permissions attached to an object, you must include the object as well in the deployment in order for the permission set to inherit the permissions.
And any fields that are referenced in the permission set, and any Visualforce pages that are referenced in the permission set, they don't
seems
come across.
odd. It seems
even
like,
if they, because this
right,
was
it was already there.
it was a tricky deployment. It was like a 4-step deployment, and the last step we were just going to deploy the permission sets separately.
Right.
And they got over there and like, why isn't anything here?
Speaking of,
It does the system and administrative permissions,
but
it
not
doesn't do anything else. Like those things
What
have
about
to be
standard?
in the change set with the.
Or about standard
Don't know.
objects?
This had
Okay.
nothing to do with standard, but like the Visual Force pages, the custom fields, the custom objects, all need to be in the change set with the permission set for the permission set to actually have all the things that you want in it, which makes no sense because it was already there on the target org. Made no
I
sense to
assume
me.
there's a new idea up on the App Exchange.
There certainly is. You can go vote on it if you'd like.
Yeah, by you or somebody.
By me. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, well, that's great blog post then.
Yeah, good blog post.
Maybe it's
all
not-
grown up.
Maybe they're like a
moving right
teenager,
along. Well, maybe. I'm
preteen.
sure there's a technical reason for it. Although I can't think of it, because if you try to deploy anything else that has some dependency, it doesn't let you. So that all this is a dependency. Like this thing has to exist over here in order for this permission to be allowed in the org. Well, if it doesn't exist, kick it out and don't let me make the deployment.
Right. Well, speaking of making the deployments,
Moving right along, talk about this one at your will. I feel like I hogged that last one.
yeah, I guess. What are you going to do?
I hogged that one. So
hogged
you
it?
take this one.
Okay. Is the next blog post, again, blog.arkusinc.com, or you just go to arkusinc.com, and since the blog has been named so properly, Arkus blog is right there on the end. It's the last tab. You can just click on it and get to all of them. This is by Marielle Espinal, and it is her first blog post, which is awesome. And it is the right time to hire a full-time Salesforce administrator, which is a great blog post because I get this question a lot, which is when should you hire a full-time administrator? And so she goes through, looking at things like the amount of users, the complexity, what are the plans for the future. She goes through all the different things you should consider. One of the things I'm going to throw out there as a sort of a side thing, and I'm not sure if she actually included this or not, is that I would, and I guess it's in the plans for the future, just make sure before you hire somebody that you're going to have enough stuff to give them to keep them really engaged.
Way to read the blog post
for a long time.
It's totally in there.
Oh, dope. It wasn't in there when I reread it.
Well, way to read it.
Maybe because I told her to put it in there.
Maybe because you didn't read it.
Okay. Yeah, I get that a lot as people go in, they become an administrator, and then they're in an org and they just don't get challenged enough, or that they're not using enough of the product mix. So like they're a sales organization, but they don't use the marketing cloud, they don't use the service cloud. And the administrator who gets all like drinking the Kool-Aid, like I need more, they want to do all these things, but the organization they're with is never going to use those other modules, and that can really get frustrating for an administrator. So one of the cons of hiring an administrator is that they get to really love the platform, and then they kind of consider that if they're not using enough of it, then they get bored quickly, and then they go off to do other things. So just something to consider. But anyway, that also is at blog.arkusinc. It's a lot of content out there.
Tons of content. Read.
It is all there. Okay, well, we have two pieces of actual news.
Right.
The first one, I don't know how much I know about this. I just know the high level, which is...
I know almost nothing.
Okay.
I read the article. And
well, then you know
very
high level. So we talked about this the other day. Informatica, a provider of an ETL solution, that's extract, transform, and load, that allows you to connect systems and move data back and forth. There you go. Went private the other day, like months ago. And I remember thinking, because we use Informatica and we use some others. We use some open source stuff and we use some other competitors of theirs. Not really too much invested in it, but, okay. So they decided to go private. I thought, that's an interesting way to go private. Okay. So you maybe want more control or whatever. Well, maybe this was part of the reason or maybe not, but both Microsoft and Salesforce invested heavily in them, bought stakes in them as a private company, meaning that they have a control now of what they do, and I guess will help them set their roadmap. This is as close as one of my predictions from many, many years ago, which is that Salesforce buys, I think I put in one of my predictions, that Salesforce buys an ETL tool and makes it like this is the ETL. Just like they bought marketing. They never used to have an email marketing tool either. And then they bought one. They said, well, this is ours, and this is the one you pay for. And so this is kind of interesting, them sort of doubling down in Informatica. Makes sense. Informatica is probably the most known in the Salesforce community. I think 99% of all their projects are Salesforce-based. I mean, Salesforce to something.
Certainly the Informatica Cloud.
Okay, not the
Power Center.
The Power Center one. So, interesting. Going in with Microsoft? More interesting?
More interesting.
Thoughts?
Not solidified just yet. I mean, what does this do for Informatica? Probably helps them. In the long run. Yeah.
I can't see it not helping them.
Well, if you're not Salesforce or Microsoft and you're somebody else, and it's like, well, why would I use Informatica?
Right.
So probably helps in the long run. Also might be used as like, maybe with this whole Microsoft Salesforce partnership, there was a bit of a tussle inside as to how is the right way to integrate these things. Well, let's just both buy into one, and that'll be the one that we just use that OEM under the covers. That's what we're using.
Right.
I can see that being the case here.
I could see that. It's a tough one because ETLs are not they're not like buying email vendors or things like that, because they generally have a much steeper price. And so it's like, and it's usually not like, oh, just use what you can use. They usually are pretty expensive. So picking one, and you're usually making a long-term commitment. Also,
I'd love to see. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, that's fine.
It'd be great to see just this SQL Salesforce panacea of like, okay, you have the SQL database over here. Here's Salesforce. You want to integrate them.
Lightning Connect?
I'm just saying, Informatica has a OData wrapper. So like they already offer that. So sure, Lightning Connect is absolutely in the cards there, but just a really easy way, like a Salesforcean way of saying, okay, you have SQL over there, and an Informatica way, which is a very business analyst friendly tool. Let's make this really easy to connect these two systems together, and sell it as part of a package.
There are some App Exchange apps that some of our clients use that are they're very low cost, and they're like, we will just sync from A to B.
Well, you want SQL database? There's like the DBAMP or DBSync.
Yep, that one.
It's called specifically for SQL.
Yep. So interesting. And then you talked about tools that allow you to sync third-party systems. Like, didn't you make Workato one of your picks of the week?
I did.
We have a proof of concept working that in our org. I don't know if it's totally proving the concept, but it's working.
It works.
Doesn't do what I want.
Does it not work?
No, it doesn't really work.
It totally works.
No,
totally.
It's a hack.
Works.
It's a hack. It's
You're
not
a
real.
hack.
Well, I'm not saying it's not Workato's problem. It's more of what you can get through the API, because the date that I need to have come into Salesforce is not the date they're giving me.
That might be a Justin limitation too, perhaps.
Well, that's a long list of limitations.
It might be a Justin limitation.
All right,
it's
well,
possible.
right.
Although I don't know.
I thought you asked.
I totally asked.
Okay, did you get an answer?
Totally got an answer.
And the answer was?
You won't like the answer. I sent you the answer.
No, well, what was it?
Yeah, but again, I might be doing it wrong. I might be looking at the wrong thing.
We're
so abstractly.
No, I wanted to leave some space on either side of that so I could easily go into this and clip that.
But you don't do those kinds of things.
And just put it on my board. I might be doing it wrong.
Board.
I might be doing it wrong.
You don't have a board.
I might be doing it wrong.
You're boring. Let's move on.
Next up to things that are boring. Again, this came out last night.
Yes. Got this
Google
last night. Got a little Slack notification on this one.
Google does a. So it sounds like what they did is they created a parent company.
They did.
Called Alphabet.
Yes.
And then they took all their products and they made them sort of report up into the Alphabet.
They split off the companies from Google.
Right.
And said, okay,
how many of them?
Like 5.
Okay.
So like Google is obviously the biggest.
Right.
I should pull up the article to bring up the list, because then we'd have a good list to go off of. Nest is another.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting.
So
Something I own.
Nest is part of Alphabet, not a part of Google anymore. And I think this was a way for Sergey and Larry to sort of go up and get themselves out of the running of the business from a day-to-day perspective. And there's actually a new Google CEO who's actually running Google.
Yeah, I think you're right. It does seem to be something that a way for them to go higher up. I'm just more interested about.
Did you find the list?
No, I'm trying.
So there's like a Google Lab. I don't think it's called Labs. It's called Google something.
Oh, here we go. I got it. Alphabet is the top.
Yeah.
Google, underneath Google, is Android, search, YouTube, apps, maps, and ads. There's Google X, working on big breakthroughs. There's Fiber.
Yep, Fiber was one of them.
Google Capital, investing in long-term tech funds. Google Ventures, which is a different one. Nest, which is the smart home products. And Calico, fights age-related disease. Wow, that's just an odd one. So, interesting. I mean, kind of cool. I don't know really what it does for anybody in their life, but I guess now when we talked about Google, we're talking about Google and then all these other things that have nothing to do with it. I guess because when I talk about Google, I'm not talking about Ventures or Capital or Fiber or X or Calico or Nest. In fact, I'm glad that Nest is off, so then I don't have to talk, because to me, Nest is completely different. Because when I talk about Google, I am talking search, apps, maps, ads, and Android, I guess. I'm surprised Android seems like one that's
part of Google, I think.
Yeah, I feel like that would make more sense to pull off.
Yeah, I think, but then you have to go like, well, then where does Chrome go?
I don't know.
Right?
Whoever made these decisions.
Well, their stock's up 4.27% today, and I think it was up like 6% after trading yesterday. So,
but Alphabet's stock?
No, I'm just looking at Goog. I don't think there is Alphabet stock. I think it's still just Goog.
Anyway, it's interesting. It seems like, I think the underlying story was that there was getting too much just interplay and things weren't getting done, and so they had to kind of like shake things up because it just wasn't working. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, too many divisions. They were all fighting for attention and for whatever. So this is kind of a way of coolly separating them out. It's usually not. This is the opposite way of people. More, it's like bring them together, not separate them. Salesforce has bought tons of companies and then brought them into the fold and turned them into real products under the Salesforce brand.
Cloud 2.
But they don't generally do the other way, which
We're in
is
Cloud 2 right now. Do you know that?
No, I do not know. We're in Cloud 2.
I was going through my notes from like Dreamforce 11 or something for one of our podcasts, and it was sort of hilarious.
Cloud 2?
Cloud 2 was announced. Database.com was announced. There were a lot of fun announcements at Dreamforce 11.
I went to, here, you want to see something fun? Go to work.com.
Okay, I will.
Just go to it, because see where you land is hysterical.
I'm sure I land on like Salesforce.com or something.
But look where exactly you land.
I land on a knowledge article. Oh, well, that makes sense, actually. If you read it.
I know, but it's kind of weird. We go to a website and it lands you on a fact.
That's true. Well, it's not a fact. It's a knowledge article.
Right, but you're like in help and training.
You kind of are.
It's weird.
It's weird because it didn't just redirect you to like the Salesforce work.com marketing page or something.
Yeah.
I think it's because people are used to logging in there if they were old school users of work.com.
By the way, on July 10th, 2015, subject to change, ending support for legacy work.com application. Just interesting how they take some of these like work, but others they leave like desk. So desk.
Well, desk, yeah. They just left it as a standalone.
But it's Salesforce Desk. You go to a big open homepage, and there's products and pricing and
logins.
Why?
Because desk, there's no integrate. Like, there's no let's put this on the Salesforce platform. That's called Service Cloud. Work, there's no equivalent.
But there was a totally separate thing called Work.
I understand, but they wanted to put it on the platform. Desk, they don't.
Well, right, but if you go to the pricing on Desk, you see Standard, Pro, Business Plus,
but
and Salesforce Service Cloud.
But Salesforce Service Cloud. Go buy the big thing.
Right.
But it's a different offering. Work, there's no different offering. It's one offering.
But there used to be a Work.
But there's nothing in Salesforce to compare it to. You cannot buy Salesforce version of Work. There's just one thing.
Chatter profile.
No.
Okay. how I mean, it seems to me work's just like slowly, I don't want to say dying on the vine. I want to feel like
It needs to get better.
well, it's just becoming less and less important. It used to be a big thing people talked about.
I still think the goals and the metrics and even the coaching spaces are very nice and very relevant. They've never did a good job with their performance reviews, and that was the killer because that could have been a killer app, and it's not. But I still think goals and metrics are really, really useful, and being able to visualize them in a different way is also very useful. I just think now it should just be like, yeah, and this is part of Sales Cloud.
Right. And this is your Sales Cloud.
This is Sales Cloud.
All right.
With a wave thing in it.
And interesting enough, let's get on and do this is your CloudFocus app pick of the week.
Oh, I'm going to go to my website because I want to actually go to it. So I'm picking this. I've never used it, but I keep wanting to.
I have.
You've used this before?
Is the one for planes or is the one for shows?
This is for events.
Yeah, I've done this.
Sporting events, music events.
I think I actually have
whatever it is.
Yes.
So SeatGeek is my pick. It's a really nice, it's kind of like an aggregator where it goes out and finds tickets for shows meaning like concerts, sporting events, so on and so forth, and goes across like all of those other ticket resellers and gives you the best price across all of those other ones. So it's like Kayak for tickets. And then it gives you a little score on like the seat map to say like you're getting a good deal here.
Right.
With respect to other sections and the pricing in other sections.
I just looked at my tickets and I could get them for a good deal. Like my actual tickets.
What tickets?
Jets.
Oh, Jets.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm going to do that. Jets. Everyone's laughing at you right now. So,
yeah,
I like this I like the idea of it. I have it on the mobile because I was looking for tickets for something specific. So I was trying to use it the other day.
Right.
And unfortunately, the thing I was trying to get tickets for, you can't really get here like that way. So but anyway, SeatGeek.com, also the SeatGeek app on your mobile. Check it out if you're going to a concert.
It's pretty cool. I like the coloring.
It's got a great interface. It's got the little coloring to tell you like, oh, you're getting a good deal. And I did just go to your seats and I see the the little green.
Yeah,
it is
whatever that one is.
Value, so
although those are not my thing. All right, well, I'm going to make my pick. This is one of those. I had an app. I wanted to use it.
Oh, you're going to pick this?
No.
Oh,
you don't even know what it is.
Like life breathes like air? Why don't you just pick air?
Nice try. I'm going to pick Google.
Why don't you just pick air? Why don't you pick Google?
I'm going to pick Google search.
I'm going to pick Alphabet.
I
just picked all of Google. Please.
Oh, God. Airbnb, please.
Yeah, okay. Because what you're about to talk about, nobody uses and has never heard of.
This is an app that's only been out for like a couple months.
What is it?
Exactly.
Tell us.
I'm going to.
Tell us.
So for you who don't have, so Office 365 is Microsoft's online platform, right? So we actually have Office 365 licenses because we use Word and Excel and all that. I love Office 365 for the ability to, as a business user, you can download to Mac and PC, the same license. Very cool. But they actually have an app that I was looking the other day and on the App Store, and it's like, oh, new app. It's the Office 365 admin. So it's kind of like Salesforce Pound or Salesforce Hash. It's the app you put on your device, so then you can assign licenses, you can revoke, you can do this and that. So I went to pick this because I was like, oh, it's a cool app that I kind of like the concept around it. It's like Salesforce Pound. And then I went to use it, and it's really not very good. It's very, very basic, and it doesn't really give you a lot of information. It does it tells you the status and image messages and how many licenses you have. It is free. You obviously have to have a Office 365 admin license to get into it. It works on, it's an iPad and iPhone, so I was happy that Office was, on there. That's what kind of was my interest. It does do the things it says, like you can see how many users, you can see if there's any status outages. There were some when I was looking. but it's really basic, and I kind of wanted more. And it's kind of like it feels like they just wrapped a web page, which is never fun. It's like there's nothing kind of to it. Then I decided, well, all right, let's go see what Microsoft admin, if you log into admin, to see what you can do in there. Very little. And I couldn't even see when someone last logged in. I was like, isn't that a basic feature of seeing, of being an admin, to see when someone's logged into? Because I wanted to see if one of our employees had actually activated their account.
Oh.
I wonder who.
I would love to know that.
I couldn't figure it out.
Was it me?
No, it wasn't you.
Because I just downloaded the new version of Office off of 365
and you had to log.
week.
And you had to. I would have loved to be able to figure that out.
You had to log in and download it,
But wouldn't that be nice to be able to know that, that a user actually downloaded, what they downloaded, what they have installed?
Yeah.
No.
Sounds like a good idea.
None of that. So anyway, this is kind of a hate pick. I guess it could get better. I'm hate picking it. Hashtag hate pick.
Hate pick.
It's free. It's like sometimes, but the thing was, even the data that I wanted wasn't even available in their own admin. So the tool, I guess, is good because it shows you what you can do online. You can do it easier, and it's big buttons and whatever. I don't know. Wasn't impressed. All right, we'll be back next week. I think next week we're really going to start talking about Dreamforce, baby. I think we got the blog poster starting up, so I think mine is actually due. Oh, it's due next week, right? So we'll have a Dreamforce. We'll start talking about the Dreamforce, the fun. We'll talk about where we're going to be and whatever else news pops up from now until then. Until next week, follow at Just Edelstein, at Jason M. Atwood, at Arkus Inc. Go on to the Facebook, Success Community Group, LinkedIn, Google+, subscribe and review in iTunes and Stitcher. This is Justin and Jason saying, as always, enjoy those cloudy days.